That's big, bro.
I guess.
Black coffee starts now. Welcome to BET's Black Coffee. I'm Marc with Gia Peppers here.
Yeah.
And Jameer Pine made his way back as well.
Week 3.
Yes.
Survivor. Okay. I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm
Not
still
gonna
strong.
give up, boy.
That's right.
Not gonna stop.
That's right.
Oh my God. We also have someone we really wanted to see.
Wow.
Kicking it with us today is a woman whose face you have surely seen across Nike billboards here in New York City. You see her on Instagram, you see her on Twitter timelines, and of course you saw her as the co-host of Revolt's State of the Culture. Please give a warm welcome to the one and only Scottie Beam.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
And on Black Girl Podcast.
Yes.
Okay, hello.
Black Girl.
Where we both.
How could you forget that?
Really?
How could you forget? Give me the bet. You didn't say it either.
You didn't say it either.
I
You told me not to say
I
it.
was flipping. You're a liar.
And I listen to Black Girl
You
Podcast.
can't trust that shirt.
I listen to Black Girl Podcast. You're on episode 57 right now.
Okay.
It just came out yesterday. Boom.
Ooh,
You by yourself, my friend. And you
I
all
love when
are with
John
us.
gets
Remember to
tells
join
you
the
that
discussion
you're-
anytime using the hashtag Black Coffee Live. Today's question of the day is an issue that we've all dealt with as Black people, and that is, how have you experienced colorism? So make sure you drop your comments right now, and we will read them throughout the show. But back to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You made it
How
here.
are you?
I'm good.
You look good in your yellow.
I feel
Yeah, y'all
great.
matching.
Me and Marc, you know.
That's what we do.
cute is that?
That's what we do.
That's what y'all do?
That's what we do.
This is what we do.
So,
That's cute.
That's what we do. But I'm good. I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to see you guys.
thank you for spending Monday with us.
Of course, but I mean, these are my closest friends. All three of y'all are my closest friends.
So hold
in different
hands.
capacities,
Y'all gotta hold
of
hands.
course.
No.
Nah, we're good.
Too far.
That's the problem.
What's the problem?
That's the problem. I want to see two Black men hold hands.
Oh, it's not a masculinity thing. I just don't like him.
No,
You don't
you
like
do like him.
I don't.
People been saying why he don't like you, and I'm like, you just, haters gonna hate. Daily. You know what I'm saying? Like, daily.
I hate you so much.
So, State of the Culture. A lot of people have been asking this question. You know, they loved you. You're like the most.
They loved me.
They loved
so
you.
Much.
The letters, the emails. People literally.
I get so much.
When we said you were.
So much love.
I know you got some controversy too, because you took controversial positions. But what happened with State of the Culture? What's going on?
I decided to leave because I just wasn't happy in the space. I love my co-hosts. You know, they were great. Jinx, Joe, and Remy are all incredible human beings. I just feel like I can't stay in a space that constantly, in any space, like whether it be work or in certain relationships, situations, whatever it be, I need to separate myself from it and actually think things through. And I'm not gonna be happy in that space and be able to perform at a high rate if I'm not happy. So I had to go. I had to leave. They're great. Again, it's wonderful.
I'm glad you said that, because people always assume controversy.
No.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, there was no beef.
And I was gonna say, and I think that what D is so good at doing is protecting your energy and your space and making sure that at the end of the day, you have a space that you feel comfortable in.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I think more Black women should do that.
Yeah.
Right. No, people have to be very aware that there are more opportunities to come. You can't just stay in the same space forever. And, although it's not forever, that show wasn't forever, it was only one season. For me, it was like, okay, I've done what I was supposed to do here. Now what's next?
Yeah.
And so that's what, I decided to do, you know?
You always take these steps of faith, and you're fearless. I always love the fact that you're fearless in a lot of capacities. You took a step with Hot 97, you took a step with State of the Culture. Where does this sense of confidence and fearlessness come from in your life?
It comes from, I guess, wanting to know what's next. And, the unknown is scary, it's spooky, but I would love to know what God has planned for me.
Nice.
And in order for things to go and see those things, you have to try different things. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. Because if you stay in the same spot, you will never know what you're capable of doing. So, when I, decided to leave Hot 97, that's what it was. I wanted to be free. I wanted to know what it felt like to be in a space where I can, I can see what I can really do. Because that was like my nest. That was like my home.
That was,
I was like a nest for me. It was very comfortable. I knew that I could, you know, just stay there and stay, you know, completely just mono. Like, just cool. But I wanted to see how far I can go if I could fly. So I had to jump. And you had to take that chance and jump.
And be a little uncomfortable.
Of course.
Speaking of a bit uncomfortable.
I love being uncomfortable.
Oh, good. No. Diddy. Because this made me uncomfortable. I would imagine to make y'all uncomfortable.
Yeah, exes be crazy.
Diddy. Diddy gave a shout out on Instagram to CASSIE and her new partner, her new boyfriend, with whom she has a child expecting.
Yes.
And he gave them a shout out, congratulated them, and showed them love. I think that is the most amazing thing I've seen. I wouldn't do it, but I think that it is impressive.
You thought it was sincere?
I don't know if it was sincere. I think I think he needed to do something. What do y'all think?
I don't think it was sincere. I'm with you on that. I feel like it was
I didn't say what, I just asked.
I think it was one of those things that was like, everyone is watching, so I have to say something or I have to do something. But I think if you've been with somebody for so long, that's painful. It's painful.
But I'm sure it stings. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to show love. You can still show love even though it hurts. You
with
know
the like and a comment.
Do you have to do it on social?
Love it.
Love
Great.
it. Yeah, good job.
Because you have sent a text. Did it have to be on
He probably already
social?
did that.
Okay.
And he didn't get a response.
Oh, maybe he didn't get
He
it.
was left on red?
No.
I don't want to speculate.
Okay. So you send a text.
Would you do it?
Would I post something like that? No, I would send text. Congrats. Proud of you.
Most
Glad
of their
you found
lives,
happiness.
but most of their lives are public.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, you know, I think he saw a lot of people saying, what is Diddy gonna say? What is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? So finally, if he said something, he puts out a statement. You know what I'm saying? I think it was sincere. I just know that it had to sting. It had to hurt.
That's why you don't do it.
Yeah, that's what I was like. He could have just left well enough alone.
Would you do it?
Absolutely, I would do it, Mark.
You're lying.
Of course I would do that.
You would post your...
Hold on. So, you and I were in a relationship, right?
Say it again?
You and I were in a relationship, right?
Okay.
Oh,
So,
well then.
if...
America, breaking news.
The tea.
So, if I got married, or I got having a baby, you're telling me you would post on IG, congrats, Marc, and new baby.
Maybe, no. No, I would probably do an IG story that was like,
Oh my God.
And it goes away in 24 hours?
But still, congratulations, I'm happy. I'm so happy for you and, you know, and the child. That you
Well, y'all more mature. I'd hit you up on
I'm-
WhatsApp. Hey, what's up?
Yo,
Hey,
shout out to you.
congrats.
I would hit
shot
Gia
that
up.
up.
Like, yo, next time you see Scottie at that Black Girl podcast, tell us.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
But I
Or whatever.
it's such a weird space, only because it depends on how it ended. If you guys ended on the terms that were like, hey, this isn't working. At the end of the day, I wish you well, then that's fine. But if he cheated, if he left you, if there was any type of like craziness in the relationship that made it tumultuous for you, I'm not sure that I would be like, oh, congrats.
Mature.
But with a long relationships like that, do you tell your ex before you go public?
Yes!
I think it might help. If y'all are still good.
Yes!
They hadn't been broken up for a long time, though. They hadn't been broken up for a long time.
They
So
broke up like
maybe-
6 months.
Yeah, maybe 6 months?
It might.
Barely.
Ooh, then that was a whew.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
quick turnaround.
Well, I'm saying, let's
I
say.
mean,
You can get pregnant quickly.
Well, let's say it was a year. I'm saying they were together like 10 years. I'm just saying, if you're together for that long, you gotta tell me. I don't want to find out on the internet that you having a baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe she don't owe him nothing.
Do you guys think?
I learned.
Good to know. Shit.
I was gonna send out a mass text.
Do you guys think there's been this talk on the internet as well that's like Cassie moved on too soon, which I don't ever agree with. But what do you all think? Do you think Cassie moved on too soon?
What's moving on too soon?
If she wants happiness.
Yeah.
Maybe she wanted kids and didn't want kids.
That's a deal breaker for me. You know what I'm
Deal breaker
saying?
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, and she made it happen. She met somebody and she was like, hey,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a such thing as too soon.
Yeah, I don't think it's too.
Yeah.
I'm happy for her.
I'm happy for them. I'm happy for everybody. I am sad because all weekend we've been getting news out of, and I want to pivot a little bit because the Sudan.
Right.
Oh, man.
You know, I know it's heavy now, but I want to make sure we talk about it because a lot of our viewers have been asking about it. Black Twitter's been buzzing about it. You see a lot of the blue avatars of blue profile pics now and stuff like that because people are speaking out about what's been happening in Sudan. For the last few months, just to give an update for people who don't know in the audience, there's been an uprising in Sudan. On April 11th, there was a resistance movement that overturned the president, Omar al-Bashir, who'd been there for 30 years. The reason why the initial protest happened was just because the price of bread had tripled.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's been happening since December. And then in April, they finally overturned the government, and it was like, okay, now there's a chance for freedom, there's a chance for a new possibility with the government. And what they said is, we're going to get rid of Bashir, and then we're going to put in what's called a TMC. It's basically a military council that will be temporary.
Right.
So that we can have free elections. And the idea is that after maybe 2 or 3 years, initially they wanted 4 years, that that they can have the structures in place to have a free election and the people can take over their own government. Unfortunately, the council's like, nope, we're going to do this for a couple of months, and then we're going to start elections right away. The reason they want elections right away is because the same government people are there, the same people who are running the country for 30 years are still around, and the idea is they can have a fake election and then bring the same people back in charge again, and that's what often happens in these situations. So the people are saying, no, we want civilian control, we want to run our own government, we want to be free. We haven't been free ever, really.
Right.
And so that's what's going on. You saw protests. A lot of my friends who are journalists were there. A lot of activists were there. A lot of students were there. A lot of professional organizations were there, protesting without guns, without any weapons. And they were being killed by the regime. They were being shot by the regime. Even before he was ousted, there was a lot of, you saw that. You saw violence with guns, knives. You also saw rape, which is something that's been happening in the last few months against the protesters. So when all this is happening, the world should be watching. But unfortunately, for so long, the world wasn't watching. And that's what just has me very frustrated right now, because when someone gets hurt in France, or if nobody gets hurt in France and it's just a bombing, we hear about it.
Right.
When there are people in Europe who die, we hear about it. When a white woman goes missing in Mexico,
We
or
hear
Aruba,
about it.
or Westchester, we hear about it.
Westchester.
That's
But whole villages of Nigerian girls go missing.
Yeah.
And we had to fight to bring back our girls. This happens in Sudan. And it seems to me that the consistent piece is that everybody's black. And in this case, they're black, they're Muslim, they're African. And suddenly we just don't care as much. I mean, are y'all getting that sense?
Absolutely. And I think that's so important, and the reason why so many, I think, influencers and a lot of people have been changing their Instagram Avies and Twitter Avies is so people are aware. At least if you're like, why did someone change their Avi blue? You could Google it and it would say, you know, there's a revolution happening in the Sudan, and then you do more research and then you care. But I think the great thing about people using their platforms is that even if the news doesn't cover it, we can create change by starting the conversation, which is what Rihanna did. Rihanna posted on her stories, guys, all of this is happening in the Sudan right now. We need to say more, like last week. And I think that was honestly the tipping point. As much as it is annoying that a celebrity had to do it, could be, I love that it was Rihanna, but she said that and so many people cared. So it's really dope to see us changing the narrative.
Yeah, it's super sad, like, because I think we think that the world, even though the world is small, sometimes we think of it as big. But then when you see thousands upon thousands of people being raped and murdered that look like you, it takes a direct effect. And clearly, this is not just something that is out of the blue. This is a clear-cut genocide of a group of people who look like us. So I have no point but to care. I gotta care, because it could be any of us at any point in time.
I wonder all the time, what is it, or what did we do
I think about that all the time.
to make the world turn a blind eye to black people?
Yo.
Not just this nation, the world.
The world.
The world turn a blind eye to black people. And the fact that we are not seen as human bothers me. And that's what it makes my blood boil.
Yeah.
You know, to have this conversation, and you see what they've done for Paris. You know what I'm saying? They were...
Oh. And you just
got
left.
back.
Yeah.
I just got back, and they were going left and right, running around everywhere, you know, trying to get this money together. Did they raise $1 billion?
Yeah, I think they did.
That's insane.
$1 billion, and no one wants to help black or brown people at any cost.
And that bugs me out. By the way, Brianna Wild, Thomasina Spellman, Talaya Greenfield, all tuning in on Facebook. Thank y'all for watching. We got a lot of comments coming in. Keep your comments coming in, not just about colorism, but also about what's going on in Sudan and everything else. Yeah, it's
the humanity thing.
Yeah.
It is.
This is like people. We are people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it bothers me every time.
Yeah.
And I think there's this idea sometimes that if they're Arab or Muslim, all they do is fight anyway. If they're African, they're disposable because that's all they do is fight, and they're always corrupt, so who cares? And so we create these narratives that black and brown people don't matter and that they're disposable because they're not, like you said, because they're not human. So then people aren't as invested. But if a white person loses their innocence, if a shooting happens in a school, which is a tragedy, we're outraged because we're like, oh my God, white kids are losing their innocence. If a European country gets bombed, oh my God, these people are losing their civilization. But if you see African people as uncivilized,
it's normal.
it's easy.
Well, look, speaking of black and brown, like I want to switch gears for a minute because we need to highlight us, and specifically black women, because I love y'all so much. So we created a new segment called So Melanated, which is gonna give highlights to black women, specifically dark-skinned and brown-skinned black women. On the inaugural episode, we have the beautiful writer, director, actress, and producer, Issa Rae. Issa Rae, we love you. All right? It's my little song for Issa. Issa Rae, we love you.
We love you.
And we think about you all the time on a creative level and a producer level, but I just want to shout out who you are as a woman. I mean, she was in a Woman in Film Awards, just looking beautiful. Look at that. Let's go to the tape. Blue eyeshadow, highlights, contour.
No.
Look at that hair.
Right.
Bone structure.
She look great.
You look good, girl. Don't you look good?
She does look
Not an open pore in sight. You are so beautiful. Like, look at that smile. You see that? That's a $1 billion smile right there. Glowing.
Her speech
Look at
was
her skin,
incredible.
and it was incredible. But I just think we get off the topic of sometimes highlighting just black women in general because they're not just creatives, they're human and they're beautiful. So Issa Rae, we love you. Continue to shine like the skin on Keisha from Belly. You are so melanated. And I have said my piece.
Was that Maya Angelou?
Like the moon it was, like juvenile diabetes in America, like
You're just saying
a
words.
dime bag. I rise,
That's not what she said at all.
Does my sexiness offend you?
Yes, yours does.
Okay, wow,
Did
wow,
you
wow.
become Eartha Kitt?
It's a little bit of both. It's also
I'm so
Sidney Poitier.
confused.
If you, they called me Mr. Tibbs. See, it's the same.
But
But
her speech was incredible.
it was incredible.
That
I
was
mean,
my favorite moment.
Speaking of giving accolades, she gave her own accolades. She said, all right, y'all not gonna give me my thing, so let me tell you what I did and why I deserve it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She said it, I deserve this.
Right, but it was funny
Unapologetic.
because she was trying to be like funny because she kept
Right.
saying like, obviously I'm an entrepreneur, so just so everyone knows, I did all this by myself.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right,
And
right.
if you help me on the way,
Right, but there
And-
was some,
like,
there was
some-
definitely
but
some
there was-
truth in there.
right, it was like a joke that
conviction.
was serious.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that just the last part of her saying, I deserve this,
Right.
was enough for me to be like, that's conviction right there.
Yeah,
She
That's
knew.
beautiful.
And I love the fact that, you know, she's able to point that out because as a darker skinned woman, and we talk about colorism, it's hard to get your flowers like that. So sometimes you got to take them. And you have been an advocate for taking your flowers and other dark skinned and brown skinned women's flowers for them. You've been an advocate for it, and we really appreciate it. But you've had to come so far in learning to be comfortable in your skin. Talk about your journey with colorism and how you got comfortable with who you are as a dark skinned woman.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm still not comfortable in my skin.
Wow.
I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to accept it, but to be comfortable, that's something I think therapy. I'm working through it. You know what I'm saying? I have to be completely honest and vulnerable. Where it's like, okay, you know, I even had pink lip gloss on today, and I had to take it off because I've always learned, you know, through, you know, microaggressions, small things people will say.
Yeah.
Where they'll say dark-skinned women aren't supposed to wear light
Like
lip
bright
makeup.
lip, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Light lipstick or whatever it is. So I never do. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's still moments where I have uncertainty, but I think getting there or trying to embrace the skin that I have, it came with loving black women around me.
Yeah.
And embracing those around me, loving my aunts, loving that they loved their skin and they were unapologetic with it, and they let it shine, and they didn't shy away from the sun. You know, a lot of times you see a lot of people say, I don't want to get too
trying to get
black,
too dark.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Learning that they just accepted, they loved, they embraced their skin. I just feel like I want to be that. I want to get there. So you know, if I had to fake it till I make it in the beginning, I got to where I am today. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, I had to tell myself certain things. And manifest me being this person I am now. You know, tell myself, I'm gonna love it one day. I'm going to embrace and stand in this skin and love it one day. But I just have to figure out how I'm gonna get there. Therapy is how I got there. Loving Black people is how I got there. Helping other Black girls is how I got there. Talking to other dark-skinned little girls who don't see themselves ever in any space. Being love interests in movies, or, you know, not being the funny friend, or, you know, just all of those things. So I think it's like, I think what I've tried to do and always done is try to make sure that other people feel seen. Those other Black girls feel seen. And I think I'll see myself through them.
Wow.
Wow.
We got a social media comment coming in. Tiffany Cheatham says that, Cheatham Lawrence, excuse me, says, glow on, Issa Rae, you are beautifully melanated. Trina Cox on Facebook says, my colorism occurs as a Black woman in IT. I get passed on for executive opportunities even after bringing it to my employer's attention. We are vetted more harshly than other diasporas. Yeah, I'm wondering, because you're also in entertainment as well, and you navigate these spaces. Is that something that women, you think, wrestle with more than men? Because I'm not sure that dark-skinned men necessarily have to deal with it in the same way.
Right. I mean, I personally have dealt with it, you know, a lot. I mean, I'm not I'm not the darkest on the spectrum. Like, our shades are beautiful, but when I think about the times when, like, I've gone against a lighter skinned woman for a competition, or, you know, any type of audition is a competition, there obviously have been times they're like, she's not the look we're going for, and it
like the
sucks. It sucks, because you're like, well, this is the skin I was born into. So at the end of the day, how do I feel comfortable in it? And I think what Scottie is doing is so beautiful, because every single day there's someone who looks like you and me that is like, oh man, they're doing it, and they're in their skin, and they're killing it. And even through the insecurities, I always see you show up. So I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, for real.
Always. But anyway, back to the
Standing on
question.
that foundation.
I think that it's harder for women because, and I hate to bring it all the way back to slavery, but at the end of the day, that light-skinned, dark-skinned feeling of, like, they should get more attention started from the house. Like, they were the women that were brought into the house, unfortunately, because a lot of the times they were products of rape, but then they become, you know, the daughters, and they're sold off to different places, and the men want them because they look like that, and then they become this commodity that wasn't ever supposed to be, you know, a division between our people. And it's not just in African American cultures or African cultures, it's in every culture. Darker skin is seen as less than for some reason. And I hate it, but it's something that I would love to know how we move forward from, because it's still 200 years later something that we're talking about consistently.
And that's the scary part.
Right,
You know,
like, I don't want my kids to have to deal with it.
Right, and so you have to constantly work against white supremacy all the time. And people think about white supremacy as just like, it's not just about control over the economy and all those other things, which it is. It's about literally believing that white people's lives are worth more, that they're more human than we are. And so white supremacy becomes a way that, to me, where people worship gods that don't look like them. They want, I mean,
here we go.
I mean, can you imagine?
That it's in the Bible.
The Bible is in literally places where everyone's dark skinned.
Right. Everybody.
Right, but then you look at the picture and it's Luke Perry. You know what I mean?
Or John Lennon.
Right? You're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And it's like, we want it as much as they do. Like, nobody loves white people more than Black people. And so we end up valuing that.
I told you to come with the ball.
Twist off that one.
Let me pick up a Jew. Right here.
But this is what ends up happening, man. And so we have to unlearn that. And through our textbooks, through how we practice our religions, through how we raise our children, through who we date, who we hire, who we cast.
Casting.
You know what I mean? Because if we look at all the music videos, if we look at all who the news anchors are, it's not enough to be Black if they're all light skinned. And I want this isn't about dissing light skinned people. It's about saying that there has to be a range of colors and all of them be seen as valuable.
The world.
Exactly.
Right.
To me, it's just tremendous looking at the spectrum. We see so many the representations of Black people. While I think it's getting more diverse, we see stereotypical casts for darker skinned people. Like you said, like Black women can't be a front. They got to play the funny best friend. You know what I'm saying? You see aggressive, dark-skinned Black men all the time in thug roles and everything. And then you get, you know, light-skinned dudes are called too sensitive. And, you know, so there's a spectrum there. It's like, when can we be human?
Right.
Like, I'm Black.
Right.
I'm dark skinned.
Right.
I could be human. I could be sensitive.
That's what I always, when I'm working somewhere or I'm having a conversation or it's a meeting, or my first thought is, okay, because I'm dark skinned and because I'm a woman, I really have to tone it down.
Wow.
Because if I say anything in the slightest that might be looked at as aggressive, they won't want to work with me.
Yeah.
And you have to play that game. And I'm tired of playing it. You know what I'm saying? Because I am human and I'm allowed to be passionate.
Exactly.
You know, I'm allowed to be a person and a human, but of course I don't have that luxury of thinking that way. I have to think, all right, I'm dark skinned, so I have to act, you know, I have to be subtle. I have to timid. I have to try to calm it down. You know what I'm saying? And I hate doing that because that's not how I was raised. Right. It's not how I was raised. So yeah, I really wish that we would start it here. You know, within Black people, we have a conversation about colorism and how we can change. I remember a guy had said to me, he gives light-skinned women a pass as far as looks.
Crazy.
Than dark-skinned women.
What?
And you have to be beautiful. He was being very honest.
He was saying
He was like, a mediocre light-skinned girl is better than the beautiful dark-skinned girl.
So
and unfortunately, that's really not that uncommon, though. That's not
most people don't admit it.
Right.
But
he admitted it, and I was like, I have to give it to you because I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
I'm gonna scrap.
Right.
But I hear you.
But I hear you.
At least you can say it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think the craziest part about all of this is that I think the only way to really move forward is to call it out every time we see it.
Yep.
I mean, like, so you know you just did that and you sound crazy, right? Like just to call it out. And I love that you were allowing him to be honest, but I'm sure you gave him a piece of your mind.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I would love for Black men to call it out too.
Absolutely.
Please, thanks. Can y'all call it out?
On it. On it. You got that?
All right, we do have
Got
to
it
move
down.
on. I
Yes.
love this conversation, but we do have to play a game before we go. Now, you know, on Twitter, you got me at followers or whatever, and everybody be retweeting you or whatever, Scottie.
Girl.
And so now we're gonna play a really popular game on Twitter called One Gotta Go.
One gotta
So
go.
I didn't know what this is, but we have four white soul segments. Okay. Blue Eyed Soul. The game is Blue Eyed Soul, One Gotta Go. And
Ooh, this is good.
you have to pick between Adele, George Michael, Sam Smith, or Amy Winehouse.
Y'all are all crazy.
Out of all of those, who has to go?
Well, let me just ask a question. Have we seen Adele and Sam Smith in the same space?
You're
at the
really
same
annoying.
time?
Shut up.
Okay, all right.
Now.
I'm just saying.
Cut it out.
I'm just saying.
So
You could-
technically they're just one.
Okay, I mean, I'm saying.
So if you take out one, both
if you
gotta
take,
go?
Hey, look. Just saying. All right.
This is
Mark,
fun.
we're gonna start with you.
You
Go
start
ahead.
with me?
Yeah.
Can I see them people again? I
We
forget
gotta
white people
say
real
Adele.
fast. I need to see them all at the same time.
It's Adele, Sam Smith,
Okay.
George Michael, and Amy
You don't
Winehouse.
even know it's
George Michael's not going anywhere.
Thank you.
Wake Me Up Before You Go goes my shit.
Hello.
Amy Winehouse,
Wham.
she's staying. So it's between Adele and Sam Smith. I'm getting rid of Sam Smith because Adele got all that hardware. She's earned the right to stay a little bit.
First of all.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I know what that means.
No, absolutely, I agree.
Yes.
Sam Smith got to get the hell out of here. He got to go. Because Adele made 19, and she also
And
made
21.
21.
She did make
Please.
25 too. It was a little.
25 's that?
It was a little mid.
But if you gave me 19 and 21, listen,
That
You can
is
afford
true. That is
I
true.
can afford a bad
That could be
out.
your blueprint.
George Michael
Two.
is not going anywhere because he's a G. He
Legend.
was a G, and he's a legend.
Absolutely.
Amy Winehouse, I wish you would. I'll throw you out, Jameer. I will throw you out of
I
here.
love, you know, I love Amy Winehouse.
I feel like we're all. I feel like we're all gonna choose the same. I just feel like Sam Smith doesn't have enough skin in the game yet to be in this category. Only because I don't know Sam Smith's songs by heart.
I know like 3.
Like I know 2 or
I know
3
one.
that were
That good
radio.
at Dubai thing. I'm too good at.
Not that the boy isn't
That's not-
talented.
that shit is hot.
The boy is talented. His songs are great. Everything he does is great. He done lost the weight, child. He looks great. But I can't. It's Adele. She lost the voice and came back better. How do you even do that? It's Adele. And then Amy Winehouse. Oh, you won't get me to say anything.
And George Michael. Let's just.
You gotta put some
Rest in
respect
peace,
on
George.
it.
That's right.
Yeah, you gotta put some
Vixen
respect
J on
it.
YouTube says, "I agree, Scottie. Had to grow into my."
What is this voice?
That's how she sounds.
I
Do you know her?
Do you know?
Do you know
I
her?
might. Had to grow into my skin color and understand that it's beautiful and not a hindrance.
Put your chest down.
Ty Battle on Facebook says,
You got the shirt on.
us as black men have to do better.
Okay.
As well as with how we compliment different shades of black women. Also, Marc in his bag right now, hand clap. Yes! Somebody respects me and loves me out there. Manny Fergie on YouTube says, Scottie Beam, intelligent and beautiful. Calm it down. Lolo on YouTube says, Scottie Beam is loved forever.
Calm it down. I was
Simmer down now.
Simmer down now.
Lolo on YouTube says, Scottie Beam is loved forever. Yes. Yes, people love you.
Sam Smith. He got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sam
I
Smith.
mean, and two
got no
dead
argument for
people
that.
are on it. You can't do that. That's
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
And
you can't get
even-
rid of dead
That's
people.
crazy.
And they still are better than Sam Smith.
All right.
On that note, Scottie Beam, thank you for joining us.
Hey!
Black Coffee fam, please go ahead and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and you can watch us live every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern right here on all the platforms. Don't go anywhere, though, because we're headed to another conversation. It's called Black Coffee The Refill over on Twitter. So you stay there. We'll be right here. Bye.
You stay
Banter.
there.
I'll stay here.
You stay there. You stay there.
Banter.
Banter.